Hi, welcome back to the Black Mold of Grief. I'm Thomas Graves, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about how I worked through this is all part of a plan because the plan really kind of sucks. And so, how do I know what is God's plan and how do I surrender to that and find peace with that? And that took quite a bit of time because I have been through so much and it just didn't seem like that was a good plan. And so the more I thought about it as I would hike, I would just kind of let everything kind of just filter through without really trying to steer it in any direction. It hit me that the plan with a capital T, capital P was Eden. That was the plan. And then for whatever reason, in different ways of thinking about it from a spiritual perspective, whatever that is for you, that got messed up. And ever since then, I think God is just kind of making lemonade. And so when I look at the people I've lost, look at how I lost a decade or more to depression, I have a hard time focusing on the purpose of that plan, and it would just make it worse. So what I came up with is I was sitting in church one day looking at the stained glass windows, and my mom, when she turned 50, she took a bunch of different classes. She learned tap dance for a year, and then she took up stained glass, and then a year later she took up painting. So she was doing different things. And so when she was doing the stained glass, she mentioned to me that stained glass is actually stronger than regular flat glass because it has the metal in there to help hold it together. And the more I thought about that, sitting at church, I realized that a lot of times, specifically in my life, a lot of the early pain wasn't even mine. It was people basically, if I was sitting in church, they're driving down the main road at 90 miles an hour, just hurling their rocks of pain towards and shattering windows. And that's how I got shattered in a lot of ways. And again, I just was trying to figure out what the plan on that would be. And as I sat there, I realized I don't think us being shattered by other people's pain was ever part of the plan. The plan was Eden. And the rest of this is we're just trying to do the best we can. And so I started picturing me being shattered like glass on the ground. And I think for God, I don't think he planned that, but I do think he has the power to be there with me in that moment and look at all of my broken pieces and say, I can still make something beautiful out of this. And then he pieces us back together like stained glass so that we have a story to tell to inspire other people. So whether that's my story now inspiring you or someone else's story inspiring me, I think we all kind of take turns being the stained glass in the window that inspires the people that are broken on the ground. And that's the cycle, and becoming shattered, and then God saying, I can still make something beautiful from this. And then he makes something beautiful and hangs it up for other people to see and get inspired by. And then my personal goal is to leave my story behind and go from the stained glass slowly back to a piece of regular, clear, flat glass. And that will make me more vulnerable because I won't be as strong and resistant because I won't have all the support running through me. But I've learned that I would rather be that and allow people to see in to me rather than being blocked by the stained glass story. And when looking at me, like with the meditation we talked about, they see a reflection of themselves and they see a reflection of heaven. And so that's my goal with the stained glass and the flat glass is I'm going to be shattered again. And I am. And so when I am on the ground, I don't think that was God's plan. I focus on God's power is to still make something beautiful. Nolan was instrumental in the song and the album and the direction of all of this, 2 different points. The first one was, I Want to Bring You Joy was really going to be my gift to myself because I was going to stop songwriting and move on. And so I decided to do a big gift to myself, full production, and I was going to walk away. That was going to be what I would listen to at some point in the future. And so I had worked with Nolan previously, reached out to him, asked him to put together a full band, the whole thing. And when I listened to it, I turned to the engineer who mixed it and I looked at him and I said, "Is that as good as I think it is?" And he said, "Yeah, you guys nailed it." And I literally kind of went, "Well, crap, I got to do something with that. That's amazing." And so his talent literally just brought me back into, okay, I have to do something with this song. And so wasn't really sure what to do. And I kind of played around with a few different things about releasing it. And then a year and a half later, when I had rewritten the lyric, which is how my process was, I'd redo it after another round of healing. I reached back out to Nolan, and unfortunately, his addiction had kicked back in, and I just wasn't able to get him in front of the microphone again. And so at that point, I reached out to another gentleman named Marcelo, and with that connection, it ended up triggering the album. And then a year and a half after that, Nolan was sober again, so he reached back out and he recut the new vocal, which you're going to hear, and absolutely killed it, did an amazing job. And so he really shifted my life twice. He got me back into music, and then when he wasn't able to be the person I wanted him to be, he shifted my life again with the album. And so Nolan is no longer with us, and so it's very difficult for me to listen to this version sometimes because I felt like his grief and the loss of his dad, my grief, the loss of my mom, I had always felt like had robbed us both of the careers we could have had. And I secretly always wanted this song to kind of make those things right for both of us. And so the fact that he's not here to celebrate this moment with me is difficult sometimes. But, I listen to it and I hear who he was at his best. And I hope that that is what you hear as well.
If I don't make a change, I'll meet you in the clouds, and this emptiness will be all I'll talk about. You would understand that I'd be ashamed if you brought your smile and I brought my pain to our first conversation in heaven. And I wanna bring you joy. And
Thanks for tuning in to the Black Mold of Grief. I hope something I've said here today helps you bring a little more joy to your first conversation in heaven.